Notice that not all buy orders have the intention of adding buying pressure, and not all sell orders have the intention of adding selling pressure. In the case of pending orders, the intention can be to stop or limit price movement. This leads us to different types of market players. There are basically two types, the aggressive and the passive players. Aggressive players are the ones that initiate price movements, and they do so through the use of market orders. Passive players don't initiate price movements, but they can slow it down or stop it, and they do that through limit orders. That also means that passive players demonstrate intent across different price levels, as we'll see later. Another way of thinking about aggressive and passive players is that aggressive players take liquidity from passive players, and passive players provide liquidity to the aggressive players. It's important that you acknowledge a few basic rules about the interaction of market players. A buy order must always match a sell order. In other words, if you want to buy, there must be someone else on the other side willing to sell, and vice versa. An aggressive order must always match a passive order. With all these concepts in mind, let's move on to hypothetical scenarios in one of the order flow tools called the order book. The order book shows the buy limit orders below the current price in the bid column on the left, and the sell limit orders above the current price in the ask column on the right. The order book shows the dynamics of limit orders in real time. Notice that the order book is very similar to another real-time order flow tool called Depth of Market, or DOM. The difference is that the DOM is easier to read since the size of bars in the bid and ask columns are proportional to the number of limit orders, giving an instant perception of market depth to the trader. However, they basically show the same information. This is a good moment to explain the concepts of liquidity and market depth. Liquidity is the ease with which a market can be traded without causing significant changes in price. Market depth is the number of orders in a given price level. A deeper market means that more trading activity can occur without causing significant changes in price. By the same token, a shallow market means that significant changes in price can occur with low levels of trading activity. Let's take a hypothetical scenario where buyers, for whatever reason, feel that the current price is low, and they decide to buy. Recall that market players that initiate price movements are aggressive players, and they do so with market orders. Recall also that an aggressive order must always match a passive order. For price to rise from 50 to 51, aggressive buyers must take the liquidity provided by the passive sellers in the 50 price level first. In this example, there are 23 sell limit orders in that level. To go from the 51 to the 52 price level, the same process needs to occur, of course. Notice that in this case, the ask column has shallow market depth, so the aggressive buyers can cause a more significant rise in price with not a lot of aggressive power. In the higher prices, market depth begins to rise, and the aggressive buyers require more power to produce the same change in price. The same mechanics, of course, happen in the bid column. That is how prices effectively rise and fall. Like I said previously, the order book, or the DOM, is a real-time tool to assess the intention of passive players, and here begins the problem. Since this is a real-time tool, it is subjected to different kinds of manipulation maneuvers. For example, buyers can place significant buy limit orders in a specific price level with the intention of attracting the market to that area, but with no intention of getting filled. They can cancel the orders just before they are hit. This problem became significant especially after the rise of high-frequency trading algorithms in 2008, which can basically automate this process. So the market depth reflected in the order book, or DOM, doesn't necessarily correspond to the real intention of buyers and sellers. Let's briefly go over different kinds of manipulation maneuvers that can occur in the order book, or DOM. Spoofing. This maneuver involves the placement of large limit orders with no intent of having them filled. In other words, passive players can place large orders that will appear in the order book, or DOM, to create the illusion that there is a lot of intent in a particular price level, but in reality, these players don't have the intention of executing these orders. They just want to induce the illusion of liquidity or supply and demand on other market players. Such orders can be quickly cancelled just before price hits them, for example. The problem, of course, is that there is no way to tell if the large orders exist for a legitimate intent or if they are a result from spoofing. Iceberg orders. Institutional traders have access to trading platforms that allow them to place what are called iceberg orders, which are limit orders that appear partially in the order book or DOM. When the visible portion of the order is executed, another portion of the order emerges and gets executed. The reason behind this is to hide the intent of having a very large order appear in the order book. A retail trader has no way to tell if the order book or DOM is hiding an iceberg order. So a price that appears to have shallow depth might be hiding an iceberg order, which would obviously be misleading. There are other types of manipulation maneuvers like painted tape and layering, but the understanding of spoofing and iceberg orders is enough to understand the misleading nature of real-time order flow analysis. In conclusion, when observing the order book or the DOM, shallow price levels might actually be deep, and deep price levels might actually be shallow. There is, of course, no way of telling the intention of passive players just by looking at these real-time tools. As retail traders, there is a very high probability of being misled by more astute institutional traders manipulating the order flow. All this talk about algorithms manipulating price is related to real-time order flow, not historical order flow. This information might seem inoffensive, but its importance will grow as we progress. So this deceptive mechanics of the real-time order flow is one problem, but it doesn't stop there. Another problem here is that traders tend to assume that buying and selling always have directional intent. That's not true. Certain kinds of market participants don't buy necessarily expecting that price will rise or sell expecting that price will fall. The key to understanding that is that there are mainly three types of market participants: speculators, arbitrageurs, and hedgers. Speculators are what most retail traders expect every market participant to be. Speculators want to capitalize on the directionality of price movements, meaning buying low and selling high. If the market was made only of speculators, the order book would be less misleading, although the manipulative tactics we just saw would still be a problem. We also have arbitrageurs. This kind of market participant is not worried about market direction. They want to capitalize on the difference between two markets, which often involves buying one market and selling another simultaneously. In other words, when arbitrageurs buy or sell a market, they don't necessarily expect this market to rise or fall. Statistical arbitrage is a good example. These kinds of traders don't trade market direction. They trade the statistical relationship between two or more markets. For example, if an arbitrageur buys market A and sells market B, he doesn't care if market A falls as long as market B falls more than A. That is a simplistic example, but it illustrates how buy and sell orders don't necessarily have directional intent behind them. If you want to learn more about arbitrage, I have an ebook about it called Statistical Arbitrage by Cointegration. Cointegration is an idea that won the Nobel Prize in Economics, and it lays the foundation for arbitrage strategies in the institutional trading world. It can also be used by retail traders. The third type of market player is the hedger. This kind of market participant aims to reduce or eliminate some kind of risk by using the financial markets. The classic example here is delta hedging used by banks, which involves buying call options at the same time that they sell the underlying financial instrument following a certain proportion. The aim is to eliminate delta or directional risk. That's useful to mitigate some of the credit risk associated with lending operations. In summary, just because they sold the market doesn't mean they want it to go down, because they are not trading market direction. They are trading market volatility. I have a video here in the channel demonstrating how delta hedging occurs. I'll leave it in the video description or card. The term delta here is completely unrelated to the delta we'll study later. The first relates to the delta or directional risk of the market given by the Black-Scholes formula, and the latter relates to volume delta, which is the difference between bid and ask volume. In conclusion, not every market participant buying or selling has directional intent like most retail traders expect. That is a problem because it obfuscates the order flow process. In real-time tools like the order book or DOM, the situation is even worse because there are different ways of manipulating the perception of intent through limit orders as we saw. If you're still not depressed, let me try again.